Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to create this basketball graphic that you see right here, and I'll show you how we do this step by step, and I'll show you how we create this vMix UTC setup and then how we use this setup to operate the graphic. Well, the first thing we're going to do though is I'm going to bring the graphic in as an overlay. So right here you see where I'm pointing, it says visiting team. Over here it says home team. I have the visiting team in blue. I have the home team in red. Okay, so what we do is we just type in the name of the team that we won, and we have Male High School, and you'll see when I click on that, it highlights it. And as we move the arrow over, it takes the letters away, and then I'll just go ahead and put them right back in, and you can see how quickly it is to add the two teams that are going to be playing in this particular game. The next piece of information you see right underneath of it is the visiting team mascot. And there's a drop-down list, and this has all the high school mascots that we frequently use in it. Underneath of it, it's the visiting team mascot name. And this again is going to be a text widget, and you can just type in whatever you want. We could type in Tigers if we wanted to. And you can see how that new text is displayed in the box. So the way this particular graphic works is when a two-point play is made, when a field goal is made, it's going to show the mascot name in the background of the visiting team. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. I'm going to go ahead and give the visiting team 2 points. And you can see where Bulldogs come in, and then you can see where the 2 points come in. So we'll go ahead and do that again. We'll click on 2 points. Bulldogs comes in, and then it adds 2 more points. For a 3-pointer, we have a little bit different graphic. We'll go ahead and click on that. You can see where a +3 comes in, and then it goes ahead and just adds 3 to the total. So we'll do that one more time. You'll see a +3, and then you'll see that total increase by 3. Same thing for the home team. Let's go ahead and give the home team 2 points. You can see where their mascot name comes in, and you can see the points added to their score. We'll give them 2 more points. Same thing again. And then we'll go ahead and give them 3 points. When a free throw is made, that will add 1 point to the score. We click on that, and you can see where it only increases by 1 digit. We also have it set up for home team fouls. Each time there's a foul made, you can see a visiting foul put in there, another visiting foul, and then after so many fouls, the bonus will come up, and then so many fouls after that, the bonus plus will come up, and you can see that, and it works the same for the home team as well. We also have the possession arrow. Right now, the possession arrow is with the home team, but if we want to give it to the visiting team, we just click on visiting. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm pointing at the wrong thing. That's visiting timeout. Let's go up to where it says visiting possession, and we'll click on that, and you can see where the home team possession goes away and the visiting possession is now displayed. If the ball goes back to the home team, we'll click on home team possession, and you can see where the visiting team possession is removed and the home team possession now comes up. The game clock is started and stopped right here. So let's go ahead and put it in motion, and it starts to count down from 12. We also have a shot clock. Click on it, the shot clock starts going down. Shot goes up, hits the rim. You need to reset the shot clock. That is what this button is right here, and it'll take it back to 20 again. The only other thing that I don't think I showed is this period graphic right here. It's set up for men's and women's basketball with quarters and halves, as well as final, overtime, and halftime. And let's go ahead and just make it the second half. So we'll choose this. Then let's go ahead to the drop-down menu one more time. The game is actually completed, and now it's final, and you can see where it says final. So now what we need to do is we need to go back to GT Title Designer, and we need to show you how we built this graphic. So I'll go ahead and get rid of the bottom portion of it that's not needed right now. I'll go ahead and turn off a lot of this because we're not going to need it right now when we start out. So let's go ahead and turn off layer 3, layer 2, and most of layer 1. Okay, so you can see the first thing that we did is we created this main rectangle, and we did that by going up here and clicking the rectangle button like this. We just drew us out a large rectangle like so, and then we did is we went ahead and put a gradient into it. So I'll go ahead and click on the main rectangle and I'll show you the gradient. So you go up here under Home and click on Gradient, and you can see the gradient right here. It starts off with just two stops, the beginning and the end. This one is generally, I believe it's black by default, and this one here is normally transparent by default. So all you do is you click on this Add Stop button several times. I clicked on it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I created all these different stops. Then I kind of positioned it out in this formation because I've used this before and I know the kind of look that it's going to give me. And if you look down here at the main rectangle, you'll see there's some lighter and some darker shades of black in there. And I do that by using the color palette and just changing the shades a little bit. So this one here at the beginning is black, this one here at the end is black, this one here in the middle. What I did is I brought the green color up just a little bit. I used the arrows here and I changed it from 0 to 28, and that gives me that color. So that's all I did in order to make this rectangle right here, which is the main background rectangle. The next thing that I did was the production logo, and I'll go ahead and turn that on. And all I did is I brought that in through the image. So I just clicked on this. I found the logo that I wanted, which was right here. I click OK, and then all I have to do is hit these corners, grab the corner, and make it the size that I want. So I did that, and then I just made it to fit in this position right here. So the next thing we're going to go ahead and turn on is the visiting team mascot. I'm sorry, the visiting team text. And that is what I use when we score the points. I bring that in the background, and it just shows the visiting team mascot name. Visiting background color, let's bring that on. Again, I used a gradient for that as well. So let's go up here under Home, and then under Color Gradient. And you can see that I did it just a little bit different. I wanted to have a dark, and you can see right here in the middle, there's kind of a dark purple, and then there's dark purple on the ends, and then I have lighter purple to both sides of the midpoint, and then to the left and right of those, I have a little bit darker purple. And that's how I get this look in the visiting team background color. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to turn on the home team mascot, which is the Eagles. And I didn't mention this when I clicked on the visiting team mascot, but all this is text. So you just go up here and you click under this ABC, you click on text block, and then you put it where you want it. And what I do is I center it in the middle, up and down, Arial regular, and the size is 84. So if you click on this, another thing that I do is I want to make sure that it stays in the text box field that I created. So I always go up here and I hit this little box right here, and I click on shrink. And what that does is it's going to make sure that however long this text is, it's going to stay within the box that we created. So let's go up here under fill color. We can change it to whatever color we want. In this situation, we're going to change it to white. Let's go ahead and change the font size to 84. It makes it a lot bigger. And then let's just go ahead and change this to Scorpions. And you can see as I start to type these longer words that it actually makes the font, or it makes the text size smaller, so it stays within this text block field that we created. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn on the home team background color, and we did the exact same thing we did with the purple, except on this one we use shades of blue, and that's what gives us this look right here. Next thing we're going to turn on is this vertical bar, and that is going to be a divider right here. And all I did to create these vertical bars is I clicked on the rectangle, knew what size that I needed, because if you go up here under the main rectangle and click on this, and then we're going to go to format, we can see that the height is 112. So this right here is 112. So when I go to make this vertical bar, I make it a little bit smaller, And you can see that I did that because the height here is just 100. And the width of that bar, it's pretty thin, so I make it a width of 5. And then after I make it, I go up here and I click on my control button, and where these two arrows converge, I grab it and I turn it, and I want to make sure that it's exactly 90 degrees, which is reflected in the Z rotation right here. If I need to make it smaller, which I'm probably going to have to, so let's just go up here and under width, let's go ahead and make it 100. And then under height, let's go ahead and make it 5. And then we can just click on the title, the name in the title bar, and then we can move it and position it where we wanted it. So on this, let's go ahead back to home. Let's change the color for demonstration purposes to black. Then we're going to click on the title bar name and just position it where we want it. And that is indeed how we did this bar right here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn on the period. And that is this portion of the scoreboard right here where it says first. How we made that is we made that with the ABC, just using the text block. Next thing is time clock. Let's go ahead and turn that on. We did that the exact same way. We go up to ABC. We create a text block, we position it where we want it, we make it the size we want, we made it a little bit bigger, we made it 36, and we want it to really stand out, so we made it extra bold. Next thing we're going to do is vertical bar 2. Let's click on that, and that comes in to the right of the time clock, and that's just a separator between that and the seconds clock, which is going to come up. Let me rename that. To rename something, all you got to do is double click on it, and then we're just going to call this shot clock because I like that name better. So this is the shot clock, and we'll go ahead and click this eyeball here, and that's going to make it visible. We did the exact same thing. We used the ABC text block in order to create the field for the shot clock, and then we just moved it in the position that we wanted it. Visiting +3. Well, when the visiting team hits a three-pointer, you saw that +3 that shows itself. So let's go ahead and click that. And this is also a text block. What I did is I actually just duplicated the size of this block here because I know it's the size that I want, and just renamed it Visiting +3 and positioned it where I wanted it, and then I go up here under color and I change the fill color to purple. Home +3, I did the exact same thing. What I did is I copied the Visiting +3, so I right click and copy, and then I right click and paste, and then after I created it, I just click on the title bar, and then I use the arrows on the keyboard to go ahead and reposition it. These are all techniques that we've used before, and I will point you to this tutorial in the bottom left hand corner, and it will show you this process in a little bit more detail. Vertical bar 3 is the one on the far left here that's going to be just a placeholder that's going to separate the promotion logo, or the production logo actually, from the visiting team mascot image that's going to go right here to the right of that bar. So let's go ahead and turn on the timeouts now. These timeouts are actually images or source files. All I did was go to Google Chrome. I typed in white bar PNG, and I found a bar that I liked. I made sure there was no background associated with it, and I just brought it in and incorporated it with this graphic as an image. So what I did is I just clicked on image. You can see right here where it says white bar clipped. I actually have a program that I use to take out the background, and then I just brought it in to the graphic as an image. And then what I did is I right click and copied, and right clicked and pasted 3 times, and it brought in the other timeouts. It brought in timeout image 3, timeout image 2, and timeout image 1. And you can see how all those are populated on the visiting side of the graphic. Next thing we did were the home team timeouts. So home team timeout 4, image 3, image 2, and image 1. And I did this the exact same way. So that's the first layer. The second layer is obviously layer 2. So I'll go ahead and turn on all these elements. And you can see where a lot of information just came in. The visiting team logo came in, the visiting team name, all these fields here, the fouls, the bonus plus, and possession came in. Also this white area right here, which is just a background for the visiting score, and then the visiting score itself came in. First piece of information is going to be the visiting logo, and I just brought that in as an image. So I just clicked on the image here. I went to a file that I liked, I brought it in, I grabbed the corner and shrunk it down, and I put it right here. Well, you can see how the image kind of spills out over the border of my main rectangle that I created in the very first step. So what I do in order so that doesn't happen is I make me a mask. So how do you make a mask? Well, I've done this several times before, and there's actually a tutorial put together called masking, but I'll go ahead and show you real quickly how you make a mask. You go up here and you click a rectangle, and then you go and you click on choose a color. I normally choose a light color, and then I take the alpha down till you can barely see it, and then I name it. In this particular case, I named it Visiting Team Mask, and then I would just position it behind the image that I want to mask. So I'd just click, I'd put it roughly where I want it, and then I'd click on the title bar, use my arrows to get it exactly where I want it. And then you have to go up to Effects. So I clicked on the visiting logo, and then I go up here, hit the drop down arrow, and then I click on Visiting Logo Mask. And when I do that, and then when I turn the mask on, the visiting logo mask, you can see where you can now see the border of the main rectangle that we created in the first step, and none of the logo is spilling out over top of that main rectangle. The next thing is visiting team name. Click on that. The exact same, what we did is we went up here and we chose ABC, which is the text block. We clicked on it and we drug it out the size that we wanted it. Then we went back to home. We hit shrink. Our I always center in the middle, left and right, and in the middle up and down. And then we chose the size of the font that we wanted, changed the font color or the fill color to white. And then I just double clicked on it and typed in all caps, Male High School, and I changed the font type to extra bold. And you can see right there that is pretty much identical to what we have right here. The next thing we're going to turn on are the fouls text, and that is this right here, and that text and colon are static, they don't change, and I created that by using this ABC text box. And I did the same thing that we've done several other times. I went up here and I clicked this box. I clicked shrink. I made sure that it was centered in the middle, left and right, and in the middle up and down. And then I just typed in fouls colon. To the next of it is actually visiting foul number, and I'll turn that on and you can see where this comes in. This is another ABC text block. Visiting bonus. This text is static, and then all I did was I copied and pasted the visiting bonus, and then in this one right here I added the plus sign to it, visiting bonus plus. To the right of that is the possession text for visiting team possession. This is the visiting score white background, and that's right here, and this is where the score is going to go in over top of that. And I did the same thing that I did for the timeout bars. I just went to Google Chrome, I typed in white block PNG, selected the one I wanted, went to my program, took out the background, brought it in, sized it up, and put it right here. And then the last thing is visiting score. Make that visible, and you can see where the digits come in here. Then I just went under fill color, and I made that fill color blue. Anytime I'm using color with the particular text, I want to be able to, in the vMix title editor, I want to be able to edit that color. So what I do is when I go ahead and, just as an example, visiting score, I go here under data and I make sure that I have this show visible toggle on, and that is so that I can, in vMix UTC, turn particular titles off and on. And then I also make sure that this check right here under hidden is not there. When you create something like this, a text or a background rectangle or something like that, it's always created hidden. But if you come up here and you take that check away, then you're able to edit that color within vMix title editor. So we did the exact same thing. I'm not going to bore you with it. We did the exact same thing for layer 3. And that is how we created this graphic in GT Title Designer. And whenever I can, I'll always click on the title bar of a particular element, and then I use the arrow key so that I can fine adjust it and get it exactly where I want it. So the second part of this tutorial is we have this graphic made, and it turns out it looks pretty nice, but how do we control it? Well, I do my controlling of most all my graphics through vMix UTC. So let's go ahead and bring in the vMix UTC layout once. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the vMix UTC layout. Well, this first button right here is a text field widget. And all we do is we go up here and click on widget, and these are all the particular widgets that we can create. We do have a tutorial called vMix UTC Basics, the widgets, and it covers all these widgets and shows in detail how to use each one of these particular widgets. But for this first part right here, we used a text field widget. So we would just go under widget and we click on text field, and it brings in something that looks like this. Under name, I just typed in visiting team, and then I do the title mapping for it. So I click on this. It has all the inputs that I have in this particular vMix UTC setup, but I use the basketball animation scoreboard graphic. And then since we're dealing with the visiting team name, under the title drop-down box, I want to make sure that we have visiting team name. So I'm going to scroll through until right here. I'll click on this, and that's visiting team name, and I'll click on OK, and you can see as soon as I do that, the visiting team name pops in here. It's already been populated in this field right here, and all I did was create an exact copy of this. So as soon as I created this one, the team name popped in. I did the exact same thing for home team name, except under home team name, when we brought the input in, instead of it saying visiting team name here, I mapped it to home team name. The next thing here, you can see by this drop-down menu, it gives you a clue as to what kind of widget this is. This one right here is a list widget. So let's go ahead and click on list widget. I just typed in right here visiting mascot logo, and then with the mapping, what I did is I clicked on our animated scoreboard graphic again, and then I make sure that this is visiting. I make sure that I map this to visiting logo source. And then what I did is I have a list of all these high school logos that I've used in the past, and I've made a list out of that. So all I do is I import that list. So I'm going to do that. I believe it's on my desktop. Yeah, there it is right there. I have it titled Football Logos 2022-2023. All I do is I click on that and open, and it populates all this information in here. Then all you have to do is click OK. Again, you can see that it brought, as soon as I clicked OK, since all I'm doing is making a copy of this widget right here, it automatically by default puts the same information in here. So if I click on it, it changes it to a different logo, and you can see right here on the graphic now, it has changed to the Ballard Bruins logo. So let's see, I think that was Jackson County. Let me see if I can change it back, and it changes right back. So I did the exact same thing for the home mascot logo, except on this one, as you would guess, it is mapped to home logo source. And then under here for the mascot name, which is what appears in the background, let me go ahead and click on 2 points for the visiting team. When that Bulldogs pop up there, that's where this information comes from. And this is just a text widget, a text field widget. And you can see right here it says text field widget, and I make sure that I have it mapped to visiting mascot text. On this one, as you would guess, this is going to say home mascot text, and I forgot to change the color. So let's change this one to red, and you can see where this one says home mascot text. Under the visiting team fouls, This is actually a score widget, and we haven't done that yet, so I'll go ahead and we'll go up to widget and we'll click on score and click right here. When it comes in as basic. Well, there's different styles that you can use, or you can choose your own format of active buttons. It comes as basketball, rugby, American football, and custom. So I've been using basketball. When I click on basketball and click OK, you can see that the numbers that come in are 1, 2, and 3, and those are the numbers primarily used in basketball. That's why on the score buttons, I have 1, 2, 3 on visiting team score, and I have 1, 2, 3 on home team score. When we're adding the fouls, we don't need to have the 2 and the 3 because we're just adding one foul at a time. So all I did on the fouls is I left it basic, and I made sure that the 1 was checked. And then when you create the button, it creates a button with only a +1, and that's how we add the fouls. So right now the visiting team has 3 fouls. Let's click +1. You can see where it changes to 4. We'll click +1 again and it changes to 5. Visiting bonus, that's just text that we turn off and on, and we do this by using the set text visible function. So what I did is I just clicked, hold on, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. This is actually just a button widget. You can see right here it says button widget. So how that would work is we go up to widget, we click on button, click down here, you type in whatever you want. In this particular one, I typed in visiting bonus. Then you click on the plus right here, and the command that we're going to use is set X visible. There we go. Set X visible. And we've talked about this before. When we use the set X visible command, it allows us to use it as a toggle. So if we click it once, it's going to come on. If we click it again, it's going to take it away. So we use the set X visible command, set X visible, and then the graphic that we're using is the basketball animated scoreboard graphic. And then what's the text we're wanting to make visible? Well, what we're wanting to make visible is the visiting team bonus. So let's go and look for something that looks like that. Visiting bonus text. So that's what we want. We're going to click on that and click OK. And so this new button that we made right here, and let's go up here and see if this does indeed say visiting bonus text. It's index 10 and is text. All your text is the first ones that are listed, and all these are your images or your sources. So 10 is visiting bonus text. So if we click on this, let's go ahead and click OK. We click on this, it brings up the visiting bonus text. We click it again, it goes away. We did the exact same thing. For the visiting bonus plus, we set that up as a set X visible as well. Let's take a look at it to make sure. And we did set X visible, same graphic, index is 9. Let's look and see what the text index 9 is visible bonus plus. So when we click on that button, it's going to toggle the visiting bonus plus off and on. Let's see if that's what happens. And it does. And we did the exact same thing. I felt like a broken record, but the visiting possession is the same thing. We just want to use the set X visible so that we can toggle the visiting POSS text off and on. But we also want to make sure that we only have the possession showing for the visiting team or the home team. If we had it up for both, it would be very confusing. So we actually have two things going on here. We have set X visible on for index 8, which should be visiting team possession. Visiting possession text, and it is. And then we have set X visible off for index 1, and index 1 is home possession. So when we click this button, it's going to turn the visiting POSS text on and make sure the home team POSS text is off. Let's see if that's what happens. We click it, The POSS text comes on for the visiting team. And now let's click the home team. So when we click the home team, let's look and see how this button is set up. Same thing, set X visible on. Index 1 text is home team possession. So that's going to turn the home team possession on. And index 8, it's going to turn the visiting possession text off. See where it says right here, set X visible off. Let's see if that's what happens. You can see where the possession comes on for the home team and the possession is removed for the visiting team. Now we also use the set X visible for the timeouts right here. You can, if you remember, those are just images that we brought in. And so again, these are just button widgets. And we're set X visible X so that we're going to be able to use it as a toggle. And let's see what index 8 is. Index 8 for image, so it's going to be at the bottom part. So that's going to be visiting timeout 1 image. So if we click it, visiting timeout 1 is going to go off. We click it again, it comes on. The same thing here, this would be set X visible for the image index of visiting timeout 2. And you can see that I'm toggling the second timeout off and on. This one would be for visiting timeout 3. I'm toggling that one off and on. And this one would be for visiting timeout 4. Oops, that's for the wrong side. Well, let's see what we did here. Well, that's the reason why. 7 is home timeout 4. It needs to be visiting timeout 4, so that would be 11. So let's click on that. And now the visiting timeout 4 is clicking off and on. And let's see the home team timeouts. Timeout 1 for the home team is toggling. Timeout 2 is toggling. Timeout 3 is toggling. Timeout 4 is toggling. And we did it the exact same way. We just go in and we make sure that we have it set to the correct timeout image. Now for the game clock. The game clock is a timer widget, and I have it set up the format as minutes / seconds. And the reason I have just one M instead of two M's, if you have two M's, when you get down to single digit minutes, it's going to show 09, 08, 07, 06. And I like it, it just looks better to me if you just have 7, 6, 5 in the minute field instead of having that 0 preceding the other digit there. So that's why under format I use minutes / seconds. I have it mapped to the basketball graphic, and then I have it mapped to where it says time clock. The way that you set the time is under the default time here. You just, right now I have it set for 12. If I click on it, I can change it to 10. So if it's only going to be a 10-minute quarter instead of a 12-minute quarter, just click stop, and you can see where it changes it to 10. And I want to make sure that it's counting down, so I make sure the reverse arrow is checked here, and then this arrow here starts it, and it starts, and then it starts to count down. And you can see as soon as it goes to a single digit minute, that other digit field goes away. So this is saying 9:51, and it's going to continue to count down. If you need to stop the clock or pause the clock, right here is your pause. If you need to reset the time, you use these buttons down here. This is going to subtract a minute. This will subtract a second. That will add a minute. That will add a second. So you were a little bit late stopping the clock and you need to add 2 seconds back. Just click +S, and it's going to add the seconds back to it. The same thing for the possession clock. The default time for that is going to be, we have it set for 20 seconds. Let's take a look at the format for that. The format for it is just the / seconds. And you can see under format, you can see under mapping, we have it set to our basketball graphic, and then we have it set to the seconds clock. Right here, I didn't cover this a moment ago when we were talking about timeout. You get to the end of the game and you want to reset the timeouts. Your home team only has 2 timeouts remaining. Your visiting team had 1 timeout remaining at the completion of the game, and you want to reset those. Just click on this button, and it's going to turn them all back on. Home reset, it's going to turn all their timeouts back on, and as you can guess, all I really did right here is I just used that set X visible function. I'm sorry, I used set X visible on instead of just set X visible. On this one I used set X visible on, and I turned on each one of the images for the visiting team timeouts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I did the exact same thing for the home team timeouts. There's a little bit of automation that I built into this, and that is on these 2 buttons right here, for the 3-point button and the 2-point button. Well, let's look at the 2-point button first. When I click on that 2-point button, I set X visible on for index text 2. I'm sorry, index text 20. Index text 20 is the visiting mascot text, so that's when the Bulldog text comes in. I let that text come in for 1 second, and then I turn it back off, and then I execute a link right here, add 1 visitor, and then I have a half-a-second timer, and then I execute the link again, add 1 visitor. That's what causes the score to change by just 1 number at a time. These add 1 visitor, where do these come from? Well, let's look at the visiting score right here, and let's click on that, and you can see where I've added or check the checkbox for +1, +2, and +3, and then over here I put some links. Add 1 VIS for add 1 point to visitor, add 2 VIS for add 2 points to visitor, and add 3 VIS to add 3 points to visitor. And then I have, under that, I have it mapped. When we looked at this a little bit earlier, I have it mapped to the visiting score. Well, now what I can do is I can execute a link, and these are all links, and on the right here, you can see where I'm using the execute link. So when I hit execute link, add 1, and use the link add 1 VIS, what it's doing is it's running this little, it's like a little piece of script, add 1 VIS, and what it does is it adds 1 point via the score widget to the visiting score. So now let's go ahead and click on it. And you can see where the visiting score goes 17 to 18, and just for 1 second you can see where the Bulldog mascot text comes in the background. The exact same thing for the home team. On the home team graphic, we are setting visible on and off for index text 19, which is the home mascot text. So we did the exact same thing, except this time we're doing it for the home team. What kind of automation did we do for 3 points? Well, let's click on that, and you can see where the +3 comes in, and then you can see where the score changes by a factor of 3. Let's take a look at that. Set X visible for index 20. Index 20, once again, is the visiting mascot text. And then we're going to set X visible on for text index 15. Text index 15 is visiting +3, so it's going to turn that +3 on. It's going to leave both of them on for 1 second, and then it's going to go back and it's going to turn the mascot text off. It's going to turn the +3 off, and then we're going to add 3 to the visiting score. And once again, the add 3 VIS comes from right here, where we highlighted this checkbox here on the +3, and then under the link we used add 3 VIS. For 1 point, you can probably figure out what we did here. We just used the execute link. Since this is a visiting team button that we're dealing with, a visiting team button widget to be precise, that we're dealing with, we use the link add 1 VIS, and when we click on this, it's going to add 1 point. Now I did one more thing, one more piece of automation on the shot clock. I checked the stop, And the stop actually works like a reset. Anytime you click stop, it's going to set it to whatever the default time is. So that's how we're resetting the shot clock. I checked the box here. I typed in POSS reset. So what I'm going to do here on this one, again, it's a button widget. We're just executing the link POSS reset. So to reset this shot clock, if I click on it, you can see that it runs that piece of script and it resets the shot clock to its default time, which is 20 seconds. Okay, that will conclude our tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on the basketball graphic. Make sure that you do give us a thumbs up and a like, and make sure that you do subscribe to the channel so that you'll be alerted as soon as new videos are posted. If you get a chance, stop by our website, onemanstream.com. We have all the tutorials that we've done in the past uploaded there. We have some photographs that we've done from the road as we go to different venues and set up our production. And then we also have some graphics. We have most of the graphics that we've used there. If you like the graphics that I'm making and you would like to purchase them, you can purchase them there from the website. They're just a couple bucks a piece. The object of these tutorials are for you to be able to do it yourself, to create and design and be able to do these yourself. But if you don't have the time to do it, or you just like something I've already created and you'd like to have it for your own, you can purchase that from the website. And like I said, most of them are just a couple dollars a piece. And as always, thank you very much.